Major League Baseball looks like they're changing the landscape of the game that we all love. Is this good for the game, or is this Major League Baseball just finding another way to trip all over itself? All this and more on 1420 in the afternoon. Let's get into her.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
All right, 1420 in the afternoon, up and running on this 18th day of August 2025. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BELLYUP over there at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of that Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts as well, which are all linked to YouTube videos. And make sure as well you like, subscribe, hit the notification button for all of those people who are watching on YouTube so you don't miss out on a single thing that comes across all of the great talent over there at the Belly Up Media Network. And you won't miss my smiling face either. It's a win-win situation for everybody. Anyways, last night at the Major League Baseball Little League Classic out there in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred came on the screen and dropped a bit of a bombshell. Maybe tried to do the Sunday giveaway or takeaway and letting everybody pay attention, but that's not the way it works, the media anymore. But he's basically saying that realignment and expansion are coming, and it's is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's up for debate, but it's going to change the way the game has been, even just the verbiage of it has been for over 100 years. With this, sounds like it's going to be the American League and the National League being the first to fall victim for this. There'll be no more American League Championship Series, no more National League Championship Series. Will there be a pennant? Like, how is that going to all work out? What will they do with the remnants of that? It's all remains to be seen. And then with expansion, they're talking about Nashville getting a team and Charlotte, North Carolina getting a team. And I'm all for that. You have to get to 32. It's the only way it's going to work right now. With 30, you have basically you have to have an unbalanced schedule. So you get to 32. Just how math works. We talked about that a few times here in the past. But the thing that I noticed the most was some of the teams that we're going to be juggling around, going from and let's not kid ourselves. The American League and National League are two different things and now than what they used to be 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's a lot different how the game has changed. There isn't players who are nationally kind of players. There aren't players who are American League kind of players. Now with the interleague and now with universal DH, that's all kind of gone the wayside. There used to be a lot of guys who were through and through their American League guys, and on the flip side, there was guys who were National League guys for sure. So so that part of the game is gone. But it's more the traditionalists like myself who may not like that this is going such a drastic way. And I for one think there's just a kind of a bit of a ploy for the Major League Baseball, because we know the impending doom that's coming with the collective bargaining agreement in the very near future. I think after the 2026 season that's coming up, but there's a lot of money to be made in expansion. So if they can dangle that $2 billion carrot twice, I think that's what the going rate for a ball team is now. So that could happen. But the biggest thing that I noticed for me was that some of the alignments and the way the teams were going to be jumping around, and the American League East is probably the one that is going to take the biggest hit. As you know how it sits right now, you have the Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, and Tampa Bay Rays are all inside that division, but that will basically be disbanded. You'll still have the Yankees and the Red Sox in a division, which is good for baseball. All of that rivalry isn't what it used to be, and we all know that since the Red Sox started decided to win World Series back in 2004. That's a long time ago. That rivalry has kind of disintegrated. It's more of the thing between the fan bases now. Even the fan bases aren't as there's not as much hatred between the two, so that's gone away. But basically, joining the Red Sox and the Yankees is going to be the Mets and the Phillies. So now you're going to have four pretty high impact, high profile franchises right in the same division. Is that good for baseball? I don't know if it is or not. Having the Yankees and Mets playing a little bit more throughout the year might not be the worst thing, but that is part of the good thing about these regional things or the American League National League thing, you wouldn't you could more of a build up for a 3-game series or a 5-game series or whatever they do throughout the year. But now if they're going to be in the same division, Yankees Mets might become and it's already become a bit lame as well. So the Subway Series be happening a little bit more, but in other divisions, you have some things that will help out baseball. Like we'll talk about the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, though, for those Jays fans, my vintage or older, they remember that great rivalry that they had with the Detroit Tigers back in the '80s. How everything went through Detroit, the roar of '84, and then there was '86, I think it was, or '85. That Doyle Alexander and the like broke the Blue Jays fans' hearts over the years. So that rivalry will come back a little bit more because they're in the same division. And then the Ambassador Bridge is right there. So you get the more people going from Windsor, Ontario over to Detroit to watch more games throughout the year, and you just have that regional rivalry, and that's something that baseball can really build upon coming out of the strike that's going to happen, or the player stoppage, or the work stoppage, or you want to word it. But this is kind of going to be a ploy, going to be, I'm not a 12-year-old, shouldn't say gonna, but it's going to be a ploy basically for Major League Baseball to say, hey, let's do something fresh, let's do something exciting, probably when they're going to be taking a year off. So this might be something that's going to help baseball in the long run, whether you like the ALCS and NLCS going the wayside and the hundreds of year tradition, because people, that's what baseball is all about, is tradition. But tradition also didn't have universal DH, and that went away. Baseball also only had you had to win your division to play in the ALCS and the NLCS, and that was it. Now that we've got wild card teams, that wasn't tradition. That seems to have worked. People tend to like the expanded playoffs a lot, and so that adds more baseball. It adds more TV rights, more TV money in October. And so it's just kind of it's kind of a no-brainer for baseball to go ahead and do this. I don't like the fact for me out here on the west in the west coast of the world. Like, I'm not right on the west coast, but you know what I mean. In the Mountain Standard Time, all of a sudden that Dodgers Giants rivalry has gone away because they're putting the Dodgers, the D-backs, the Angels, the Dodgers, and the Padres in a division, which makes complete sense because they're all right there. And then you have the Freeway Series right there, and San Diego is just right down the road, so it's going to cut down on travel for them. But if you notice, now you're taking the Giants out of that rivalry with the Dodgers that's been around for 100 years. Not 100, but you know what I'm getting at. That goes back to the New York Giants and the Brooklyn Dodger days. It's always kind of been a thing. So you're losing that rivalry, but you're kind of gaining another one. Is if you want to call the Angels and Dodgers a rivalry. I don't know if they are. The Angels are just the Angels. They're kind of like how the Mets are just the Mets, but the Angels are a not very good product. So the Dodgers, they don't need to. And look at the Dodgers team. I wrote them off. They went and swept the Padres this weekend. So what do I know? But so now you're gaining a quasi rival, but you're losing your main rival. And the Giants and Dodgers is a huge rivalry. It's been around for a long time. So you're losing that. And I don't think that's good for baseball. I mean, how many more games are you losing? I don't know. They haven't come up with. I didn't break down the schedules and the times and everything else, how it's all going to work out. But you're going to be losing some traditional rivalries that are just gone the wayside, and that really hurts. Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Twins. It's just basically throwing them into the American League East, and doesn't really change a whole bunch. Cubs and White Sox, yeah, you got your cross-town rivalry there. Is that good? Probably the same thing, like I just said. It's kind of like having, because how bad are the White Sox going to be? Like, they can't be that bad for this long. And the people in Chicago, in the White Sox land, I know it's the Savannah Bananas, but the Bananas sold out Guaranteed Rate Field twice this weekend out there in Chicago. So that's a real huge deal. And the people that want to be going to games at Guaranteed Rate Field, they went out. You put out a good product, people go. What a weird concept. It's Reds, Guardians, Tigers, Jays. I don't mind that. It's going to cut down on the travel. And that's another thing that's actually going to help the game of baseball. You see a lot of guys getting worn down quite a bit at this point of the season. The travel is very strenuous. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot going on. So if they're just only having to even take a train or a bus or something, I know they won't. But just these little charters, or in New York, just has to go across the crosstown rivalry on some kind of a bus or a charter. That's going to cut down on travel, going to cut down on expenses, going to blah, blah, blah. And so that is going to help the game of baseball. It's going to cut down on some injuries maybe, because guys guys do get tired and get fatigued. One thing I would like to see, and this will never happen, is that if they're going to do this and get to a lighter travel schedule, let's get down to 154 games. Each team's not going to get rid of four home dates, but let's get down to a few less games and really break things down, because you're already saying that the playoffs or the regular season doesn't matter a whole bunch, because you're playing now. It's pretty much it's not tough, but making the playoffs is a lot easier than in a lot of sports. It's not the hardest thing to do. You're really bad or you're good, and you have a shot. Most teams don't have a shot right now. We've talked about that on this show in the past, that you could probably go at the beginning of the season, pick 8 playoff teams right off the bat, and you can pick 8 playoff non-playoff teams right off the bat. Then everybody else is right in the middle, right? So so now you could do that. If you get rid of a bunch of games, get down to maybe 154, cut things down a little bit more, speed things up, get rid of those bad weather days in early April that people don't really attend, or maybe on the back end, so you're not going into November. Maybe just do it that way, where you're not battling the NFL crowd and everything else, and the TV ratings and all that. So it's, I don't know if it's a negative or a positive. It's just different. And with realignment, I would like to see maybe a team get back to Montreal, but there must be a reason why they're not. The dollar and stuff isn't the best, so I kind of get that why they aren't. But going to Nashville is kind of a no-brainer. Their hockey team has obviously done very, very well there with the Nashville Predators. They sell out all the time. The players love going there. The fans love going to Nashville. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know much about Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm not even going to venture a guess as to what the population is. But the Major League Baseball has probably done a little bit more research than I have on this subject to say, hey, we should go to Charlotte. Could there be another team in Portland, Oregon? Yeah, Portland's a beautiful city, one of the largest cities on the West Coast. So why they don't have a team yet is kind of a bit of a mystery. The A's debacle, we'll see where that's going to end up. But if the A's are either in Oakland, or which I still think they're going back there. We discussed that the other day, or into Vegas. You could kind of make a case for them being in both. But if they're in Oakland, would they jump into that San Francisco? Where did they fall? They're just going to stay the same way anyway. So maybe they're actually setting that up where they're going to be in that same division regardless. So maybe that won't change a whole bunch no matter what. Mark my words, they're going back to Oakland. Mark my words. But this people who are up in arms about not having the AL, the pennant, the Giants win the pennant, the Dodgers have, or the Yankees have 27 pennants or whatever the number is, and who cares? But that tradition will be gone. Is it going to be called the Eastern Division pennant and the Western Division pennant? Maybe, but it kind of loses its luster a little bit, just the way the game was played for National League and American League. But now that's gone, it seems to be the next progression in baseball for them to just get rid of the pennants and say, you know what, this is what it is. This is how we do it, and it's going to be odd that the last frontier of baseball fans was the tradition of that, but now that's leaving too now. So it's going to be really weird. But somebody who's just born into it will just only have the stories from guys my age and a little bit younger about how it used to be, right? So things change. Lots of sports change. Basketball didn't have a 3-point line. Right, that changed. Football, the way it's played, it's a lot different now. Hockey had a blue line or a red line, 2-line passes. Hockey didn't play overtime. Now hockey goes to a shootout. Things change, and is it a change for the better? Well, it's just the next progression, I guess. I mean, it's not the worst thing. Baseball's still baseball. Like, it's not going to change that fact that it's still going to be two teams out there playing. You got to have a guy who can pitch. You got to have a team that can hit. Right, and so that won't change in the fact. Just some rivalries are going to go away a little bit, and some rivalries are hopefully be extended a little bit. Is that the worst thing? Baseball's a regional sport as it is, anyways. So why not make it more regional? Why not make more games where fans can just drive from one town, especially in some of these cities? Like, you got the Orioles and the Nationals are basically in the same city, Baltimore and Washington D.C. Like, it's right there. So having them play in the same division, why not? Like, why not? And they play more. It's an instant rivalry that cuts down the travel once again. Why not just do it? You already have it. You already basically are doing it anyways with how realignment happened anyways, and how the interleague play is already there. So why not just play a few more games that way? And have bigger nights where all these teams play on the Fourth of July. They each get each year. One year the Orioles play at home, the next year the Nationals play at home, and have that a rivalry every year. That's a pretty good idea. Or the Yankees and Mets, how they play every year. Just play every year and make sure that that's a 4th of July staple. And make sure the Blue Jays are at home on Canada Day, and make sure the Blue Jays are on the road on 4th of July. Why that get script? Why there was a game? I think it was actually the Nationals were in Canada on the 4th of July. It didn't make a whole bunch of sense, and whoever it was, that was a big scheduling faux pas for sure by Major League Baseball. But it's going to happen. It's something that baseball has already been deciding, and when they say it could, it means that it will. It's going to happen sooner rather than later, because they can get that expansion money and do the old look over here. We got new stuff coming as the labor dispute is happening. So it's a no-brainer. It's going to be happening sooner rather than later. And is it going to be good for baseball? It won't change much. It's just going to be different for the first couple of years when we were clamoring for the days of the ALCS and the NLCS, and when only back how many years ago only two teams made the playoffs, the World Series, right? And it used to be 4, right? And so it's just expanded over time, and now it's going to be up to 12, and who knows after that if they go to 32 teams. So 12 teams are already making it. It's only the natural progression that's going to be more. You look at hockey, 16 teams make it, right? It's pretty tough to not make the playoffs in hockey. 16 out of 30, I think they got in hockey, or 32 or whatever it is. But it's going to be the same as hockey. Could they go 4 18 divisions? Maybe. Should they go have a ALCS, NLCS? Yeah, they find a way, but it's going to be East and West conference champions, and that's just how it's going to be. And my little complaint about it is it's going to be null and void. But let me know your thoughts on what you guys think on this, and in the comment section. Excuse me, one more. There we go, a little sneezy poo. But it's just going to be interesting to see how it all rolls out. And baseball, it's evolving, and it kind of has to, because you look at this weekend. The Yankees were in St. Louis, the once proud St. Louis Cardinals, and the place be sold out night in, night out. There was something like 25,000. I know it was hot and everything else. There were different weather factors, but 25,000 for Yankees Cardinals isn't good. It's not good at all. But then you go the other side of the equation with the Blue Jays at home are rolling. They took a bit of a stomping yesterday against Texas, but that place is packed night in, night out, 40-some thousand every night. So you win, people come. If you lose, they don't. And it's pretty simple. But this will inject a little bit of life into baseball, inject some life into some teams that have been on the downhill slope a little bit. And it can't hurt baseball. It can't hurt. Baseball does enough trying to hurt itself all the time. And speaking of hurt, what's with Stanton? That's Mike Stanton, or Giancarlo. Sorry, he plays 3 games in the outfield last week, and then he's out for 3. Like, how this guy can't stay on his feet to play baseball? That's his job. And he's a physical specimen, absolutely. But how this guy can't play after just playing 3 games in the outfield, that's a bit of an odd one for me. Like how he just can't stay healthy and can't keep himself in the field. And he's almost got a Hall of Fame career, as we talked about in the past. But that's stuff Yankee talk, anyways. Be on with Vince Stover a little bit later on, behind the mic or something. It's called the New Belly Up Show. They're interviewing some different guys, see their podcast journey. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's be up on YouTube and the Belly Up. I think Belly Up and Friends. It should be on there. Lots of stuff going on. But I got Eric Katz on tomorrow, talk about the Yankees, and then Belford from the Walk Off podcast. Scott Belford was supposed to be on today, but he had life commitments, so he had to postpone until Thursday. So lots going on here at the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more. There it is, 1420 in the afternoon. Major League Baseball expansion and a little bit of realignment. It's not the worst thing they've ever thought of, but it's going to be different, and us old baseball guys got to get used to change. They didn't have American League, and they didn't have interleague play. How many years? Not that many years ago. And there used to be a DH just in the one league not many years ago, and it's all changing. And us old baseball guys just have to get used to it. There it is, 14:20 in the afternoon. Thanks everybody for listening and watching on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Tell everybody you know to listen to the show as well. And remember, Belly Up, use promo code Belly Up over there at SeatGeek and save yourself $20. 14:20 in the afternoon. And remember, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. Have yourselves a great day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For beer and sports talk and a whole lot more, brought to you by SeatGeek. Go to bellyupsports.com for the best of sports articles and podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Let's get in.